Okay, let's just jump right in. We all have this idea of what being smart means, right? It's usually someone who's just packed with facts, like a walking encyclopedia. But what if I told you the real secret, the thing that sets truly smart thinkers apart, isn't what they know, it's how they think? So let me ask you this. What if our whole definition of intelligence, the one built on test scores and memorization, is just wrong? What if being smart isn't something you're born with, but a set of skills that anyone, and I mean anyone, can learn?
And boom, this is the entire idea in a nutshell. The myth is that you get smarter by just collecting more information. But the reality is actually so much more exciting. It's a process. It's a different way of showing up to problems and conversations. And you can start practicing it today.
Okay, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start by redefining smart, then we'll dive right into the habits, learning instead of arguing, zooming out to focus in, the incredible power of the pause, and then how to make it all stick. All right, first up, disagreements. You know how it goes. Someone says something we don't agree with, and instantly it feels like we're in a fight. Our first instinct is to prove we're right, but the smartest people in the room, they do the complete opposite. They shift their entire goal away from winning and towards understanding. Just listen to the power in this one sentence. It's not a trap, it's not a trick, it's a genuine invitation.
When you say, "Help me understand," you can literally feel the tension in the room just dissolve. It turns a potential battle into an actual conversation. And the difference here is just night and day. The typical response, that's pure ego. It's a knee-jerk reaction that only makes things worse. But the smart response, it totally sidesteps the ego. By asking a real question, you're sending a signal that you actually value their perspective. And when people feel heard, their defenses come down, and they become way more open to hearing you out.
So once you start shifting from that winning mindset to a learning mindset, you need a new way to look at problems. And that brings us to our next habit. Think of it like a two-step dance. First, you zoom out to see the big picture, and then you zoom right back in on what you can actually control.
This is a total game changer. Smart people don't get hung up on one single failure. A bad grade isn't a final verdict on their intelligence. It's just a piece of data. By zooming out, they stop seeing isolated disasters and start seeing patterns. The problem suddenly becomes a puzzle. It's not, why am I a failure? It's, okay, what can I learn from this piece of the puzzle? That little bit of emotional distance is everything.
And that leads us to this incredibly simple but powerful rule for managing your mental energy. So many of us burn ourselves out worrying about things that are completely out of our hands. Smart thinkers are ruthless about this. They draw a hard line in the sand. They consciously let go of what they can't change and pour every ounce of their focus into the things they can. This chart just lays it out so perfectly. You can't control the weather, but you can control whether you bring an umbrella. You definitely can't control what other people think, but you can 100% control if you act with kindness and honesty. This isn't about giving up. It's about being strategic with your energy. It's about being a mental ninja. Okay, this next one. This might just be the most powerful habit of them all. It's about mastering your own reactions. Most of us are terrified of silence, so we feel this pressure to respond instantly. But smart people know the secret. The real power isn't in what you say, it's in the pause before you say it. And get this, it can be this simple, 3 seconds. The next time someone says something that triggers you, or even just asks you a hard question, just try it. Silently, in your head, count to 3 before you say a single word. You will be absolutely floored by how much that tiny gap improves what you say next. That little 3-second gap, that's the pause. It's that tiny window of time between what happens to you and how you react. Most of us slam that window shut and just respond on pure emotion. Smart people pry that window open. And in that tiny space, they get to choose their response instead of just letting an impulse take over. It's giving your rational brain a second to catch up. And this is really what it all boils down to. True power, true influence, isn't about being the loudest or the fastest. It's about being the most thoughtful. The person who can stay calm while everyone else is panicking, the one who thinks while everyone else just reacts, that's the person who's really in control. So we've covered some really big ideas here, but just knowing them is only step 1. The real goal is to turn them into automatic habits. So let's do a quick recap and bring it all home. Here are the core actions. First, ask to understand, don't argue to win. Second, zoom out, find the puzzle, and focus only on what you can actually control. And
looking at that list, you might feel a little overwhelmed, and I get that. But here is the absolute best part. You don't have to do it all at once. In fact, please don't even try. The secret to making this work is to just pick one. Just one. Focus on it for a week and see what happens. That is how real change is made.
So, I'll leave you with this final, really important question. Looking at these habits, which one of them just jumps out at you right now? Which one, if you started doing it today, would make the biggest difference in your life? Whatever your answer is, that's your starting point.